Welcome to the Inspiration of Painting, and we are now in the 4th season. We're going to paint winter. Today we've already had these the 3 other seasons, spring, summer, and fall. Now we're going to work on winter. If you haven't done a winter scene before, you're in for a real treat. It's my favorite one to paint. And even if you haven't done the other seasons in this series, at least you can do something that's really unusual here. Now I'm going to show you some tricks to snow that a lot of people don't know about. Painting snow is not as difficult as it seems, or as you've probably heard that it is. But living up in the high country where I live now, I love the snow, and I've learned a lot of things about snow, and I can pass it on to you and help you understand it just a little bit better. The basic same format that we had in the other 3 series, except that we're going to not have as many big trees. We're going to use pine trees and so forth and so on that will carry the snow, but the same composition. We've got the lake, the 2 areas of hills, and then the mountain, which, by the way, this time will be snow-capped and not so distant in the background. So if you get your sky brush now, we'll get started. And just like always, you take your mist bottle, mist the sky and the water right through the center. Then you come back and you spread the water around, kind of even it out, like so. Now this particular sky is going to be a real rich gray because we want the painting to have a sort of a monotone effect. Unlike the other ones we finished, they had a lot of color in them. This is very monotone. Okay, take your gesso. Let's pour some out on your palette. And let's take some gesso now and fill in the sky. Plenty of gesso up there. Now, you don't want it to be too thin, so be sure you put plenty on. Good coating on there. And remember, the gesso is the very key to the blending and softness of the painting. Works great for backgrounds for birds, animals, for people, portraits, so forth and so on, and that's why we use it. It's a great blending tool, and it's wonderful for painting snow, and that's what I wanted to show you. Now, got your sky pretty much painted in here, and your water, plenty of gesso on. Make sure I got plenty up here. Run your finger across it, see if you have a nice thick layer of white. Okay, now after you've got your sky with the white and the water, now we're going to add the color. Now again, the sky in these 4 seasons have not been the predominant part of the painting, so we've kept them simple. Same thing we're going to do here. I'm going to, in fact, kind of rinse my brush out, get some of this excess white out of here. Squeegee out the water. Then you come right on over here to your palette, and we're going to take ultramarine blue. Now I want you to put a good amount of blue and a little touch of burnt sienna. Not too much sienna, but enough to turn it gray. You got blue and burnt sienna. And we're just going to make the sky a simple color. These 4 seasons probably have been real good for you just practicing blending, because all you're doing is putting on color and blending the colors down into the painting. Now we're going to dip in again, double load your brush with blue and burnt sienna after you've kind of put a strip on, and then you come down here across the bottom where the mountain is, and you come across. You can kind of wipe your brush out anywhere, get the excess paint out. Then you're going to just lightly blend, okay? Just blend like so. Let some of that light show through. That kind of adds a nice little wisp of, like, maybe the wind's blowing or something. Who knows, we might even snow this thing. So, while I'm thinking about it, if you have a toothbrush handy, well, fine. If not, you might take a break here in a minute and go get you a toothbrush, because if we snow this thing, which we might do, you need a toothbrush to do that. Now, see how we've just laid on darks and darks and then left some light through the middle? You can do that, or yours may be different than mine, but the idea here is not to make it just solid, but have some darks here, some darks there, and just kind of blend it together. Do the same thing with the water. The water pretty much takes on one color, takes on the blue and the burnt sienna, and a little more sienna. See, the burnt sienna grays the color, keeps it from being too blue, which is very important. Come right on across. like so. Okay, now you've got a very light water. I'm going to make it just a little darker, I think. I'm going to take a little more blue and burnt sienna and come across and lighten it just a touch. I mean darken it just a touch. There we go. Notice I'm using big long crisscross strokes. You can do the same thing up here in the sky. Big X's, just letting the weight of the brush blend the background. Okay. Now once you've got that done, then you rinse your brush out and lay it down. Again, keeping in mind that the secret to a good successful acrylic painting, or one of the secrets, is keeping plenty of moisture. Keep your brushes wet, your palette wet, and you can just paint all day long just like an oil painting. Now you take your number 10 bristle brush. Now that number 10 brush is so versatile because you can use it for anything. Right now, we're going to take two basic colors. We're going to take blue and burnt sienna. Blue and burnt sienna. And a touch of white, not much now, just a little touch there. And you're going to start right here. And you're going to block in your mountain just like we did before, blending it into the background of the sky so that it's kind of soft. Blue, burnt sienna, makes sort of a grayish color. Run on down, give it just a little bit of interest. Scrub it across. Blue and burnt sienna. I'm going to come right on down to the bottom of the mountain here like so, close to the water's edge. It's a fairly dark color, but that's what you want for this particular painting. Now snow is different than painting with all the grasses. We do a lot of underpainting with this dark bluish color, so remember that if you're underpainting. Now there are a lot of other colors you can use in snow. This just happens to be the easiest to teach and the easiest to learn, but you can use all kinds of colors in snow. You can use the mauves and the grays, you can use even greens. Sometimes green is good in snow. But let's block in all the areas where we just want underpainting. We've got the mountain, now we've got a little hill over here, and then this area here, and then we'll overpaint later with snow. So once again, you take your blue and your burnt sienna, a little touch of white, you come right down here like so, fill in this little hill. Now this time, when you come down, so you just kind of fade it into the water here, and you take that color and at the same time kind of scrub into the water. Now all this time you realize there's a shoreline right there. You can even scratch it in with your brush if it makes you feel better, so you'll know that's where the reflection is, and then this is where the snow will be. Blue, burnt sienna. I'm going to go ahead and scrub this down a little further so it'll have more of the shape of the water. Okay. Now we can do the same thing down here. And I'm just going to use my gesso there, and I'm going to put plenty of blue over here and plenty of burnt sienna. And I'm just going to block this in very quickly. Just a bunch of big strokes here. That's a little blue. That's some burnt sienna to it. There we go, that's better. Kind of graze it. I keep the top of it, don't just make a hard line, just kind of soften it as you go there. Blue and burnt sienna with a little gesso. We're using our number 10 bristle brush to do all of this blocking in. Now, one of the neat things here is, this is probably still a little wet, you can come up into it just a little bit, just dry brush like this. That dark color just kind of fade it out, because we don't want any hard edges down here anywhere. We don't have a lot of grasses and things, but we do have some brush and stuff that may be coming up through the snow. But dry brush right over this water here, creating a little bit of a fade. Now we keep going with our blue and our burnt sienna. Just like so. Okay. Now then, add a little white to it there, and just kind of blend it gradually till everything's faded together. All right, now we're in business. This next step is to start laying in some of the snow on the top of the mountain. While this is dry enough now that we can work with it. So rinse your brush out, lay it down. Again, keeping things moist. Now I experience snow often because we get several feet a year up where I live, and it's important that you understand something before you paint it. So basically that's why I like to teach it with a lot of detail so that you'll understand it. We're going to first of all let's get our little shoreline on here using your number 6 brush, your bristle brush. All I want you to do is take some plain white. If you got a little gesso left over down here, that's fine. Come right across the horizon, like so, and just scrub it. Now as you go across, you fade it up into the mountain and down into the water. Okay, you're creating a sort of a diversion there between these two things. Okay, you just kind of soften that across there. Now you can call it snow or anything that you want to. Right now it doesn't matter. This is going to be a snow scene, but that's okay. Now take pure white again, and up on the top of the mountain, you just kind of lay it on like this. See, I'm just lay the brush down flat, kind of manipulate it around. As you come down the mountain, you lighten the pressure. Now on the back side, we're going to have some snow, but it'll change color. Right now, you just want to lay it in where there might be a valley or something like that where you know the snow is going to be drifted. That's all you have to do. So. That's how you create snow, just real quick. Don't spend a lot of time on it. Remember the 3 P's in my classes. Don't piddle, play, or putter, okay? And cap it out kind of thick. Now remember the sun's coming in from the right-hand side, so what you're seeing here is the snow in its sunlit form. But you can put it on real bright or real thick, and it makes it look bright. Say like so. You can extend it out here and there like there's a little crack or a crevice or something like that. Okay, now see how beautiful you've created that snow-capped mountain there? Really has a nice feeling to it. Very nice. Okay. Now, at the same time, you take your brush and rinse it out, and once the water's left, you come down below here and you scrub, even if you have to add a little touch of paint, which I'm going to do, create sort of a misty, hazy effect here, okay? See, don't put much paint in there, it'll get too white. See how I'm scrubbing up? This mist's kind of a fog. Scrub it like this. We want to fade out the back side of the mountain over there and the bottom part of it here and go up into the mountain so it's real hazy. Just hazy. So. I just go through and just kind of smudge things a little bit. That creates a little bit of a misty effect. And then when we get ready to snow it, it looks like the wind's blowing. It's just really exciting, okay? Now, while everything's drying, we'll block in some very distant pine trees. We'll start over here. I'll put a few here, and then we got a couple on here, and then we'll have a couple of dead ones here, and this thing's going to come alive. All right, now you take your same brush, and you take your green and your blue. Green and blue. Now you want a nice, and you can add a little white, a little gray to it if you want to here. It doesn't really matter. And we're going to start back here like so. That's going to be a little too green, so I'm going to take some purple, add to it, maybe a little white to tone it down, because you don't want them to be too green. You want it to be kind of a grayish green. There we go. like that. All right, now you just put a little line there, like a telephone pole, kind of. Now, when again, like I've told you before, push in on the canvas, that creates, keeps it from bouncing. And I just kind of dab back and forth, suggesting the shape of a pine tree. And when you get to the bottom, down here, you just kind of smudge like this on top of that white snow. You want this little bit of a contrast here. I come over here. So, another tree, and then smudge. This kind of blends them together. Now later, we'll come back and put a few little bits of snow on them. Maybe a short one here. Kind of suggest their shape, leaving a little space in between. Don't get carried away. Go. As you come across, these trees don't take on almost hardly any detail at all, just a smudge, because they're real tiny, they're kind of close together, and you don't want to make them too detailed. But you do scrub the darkness right on across, separating the mountain from this foreground. And we'll come back with some brighter snow in a minute that makes the thing come alive. But already, isn't this beautiful? We're getting a nice, soft, distant mountain, but it's got a good clean look to it. We got some trees. Now, right here on this hill, while we have this color, we're going to go ahead and put 2 or 3 trees on this side. A little more detail this time. Okay, you've got your green and your little bit of blue here and some purple. Again, we don't want them too green, but green enough that we know they're pine trees. And starting over here on the very left-hand side, you make you a tree like this, just a line, and you start at the top. Notice where I'm holding my brush, and you just kind of. Now remember, we're going to put snow on these, so your form, although should be good, don't worry about it being exact. That's not important. Now when you get down here again, just kind of scrub it in, because we want, the trees will generally always kind of blend together. There. And you got one here. Notice this one's kind of leaning to the right, and the left one's, this next one's kind of leaning to the left. That helps balance and counterbalance so that your eye moves evenly throughout the canvas. Probably have 3 pine trees here. We will put another one right here, a smaller one. Okay. Now we're cooking. Okay, now we've got the 3 trees here. We've got a few over here. Now here in the foreground, when we get ready, we'll just be simply a couple of the dead ones with the bark and the snow coming up around them. Really be effective. All right. Even at this stage, the painting has a nice appeal to it. Okay. Now, as things begin to dry here, we're going to let those dry, and we're going to start working on the snow that drifts up here, that comes back here, that comes down here, and the ice that kind of forms on the water. So take your number 6 brush, rinse it out. As a matter of fact, you know, you can do anything to this painting. You can put anything, deer, and elk, put somebody cross-country skiing in there if you want to. The sky's the limit. Like I said, on the other seasons, we're just trying to learn some technique. You can put anything you want there to finish it. Now the fun begins. You've got your number 6 bristle brush now, rinsed it out, and we're going to start in the back here. And I want to use gesso to start with because I got some down on my palette, but you put plenty on your brush, and you just kind of do this. Don't blend it too much because you want it to stay pretty white, but go across like so. and you lay in some white that kind of separates this layer of trees from the mountain back there. Then you come on down into the front part, so, and you put some up against the base of these trees and against the water here, but you don't leave any hard edges, just like everything else. All you're doing is kind of adding some roughness along with a little bit of highlight so it's brighter. And while you're there, take a little bit of a dark brownish gray, mostly gray. Don't want to get it too brown. Come right along here. This creates the shoreline. See how I'm gently scrubbing it so that it doesn't have a hard line, but now you can see depth to the snow. And what I like to do after I've done that is I like to come back in and take a little bit of white, and along that edge there, put some thick spots. Now if you really look at this close, watch how this goes on. It goes in, you form little kind of rounded shapes, leaving the paint on very thick. See, that really adds a nice, very much snowy effect. See how I'm doing that? You can come right into the water here. But by putting it on very thick, it looks like the snow's melted and is falling over the edge of the bank. But you have to put it on thick and leave it. Don't smudge it out. See how I'm just leaving it on there. That adds a beautiful touch. Now we're going to do the same thing right here. Now watch what happens. Take your white paint or your gesso, starting right here where this comes down to the water. You just kind of go like this. You're going to kind of blob it out into the water. Like so. See how I just kind of skip around? Well, this will be kind of like the ice that's floating around. This is how you begin to add the real intense, cold, real nice, wintry look to this painting. Coming up along the edge of the trees here, I'm kind of rolling my brush, and we'll leave some of the background coming through, but just roll it like so. So I'm rolling it, blending it very carefully, but I'm leaving it kind of textured at the same time. And we're cooking. Putting a little bit of it in the water here because we know that it will pick up some of that reflected color. Still leaving some of the darkness there to form sort of a shoreline, but see, I've let some of the dark come through. Oh, it's really exciting to do that. It's just tremendous fun. Well, let's take a short break from that for a moment, if you would, and let's get our script brush. Let's put a couple of dead tree stumps up in there. I mean, those are the ones that I like the most. Anyway, take a little blue and a little brown with your script brush, and I'm going to have one dead one that's fairly good size. Right there, it kind of comes down closer to the water's edge, and as you paint that in, then you're going to reflect it quickly into the water like so. Just kind of wiggle back and forth at the same angle in the water so that it looks like it's rippled a little bit. Now let's put some of the old dead branches hanging off of it, like so. Should be quite a number. Okay, that's how you get a little interest in this. Now you can add these little dead trees anywhere you want to, just to be real honest with you. If you want to have a couple of smaller ones in the background, that's okay. Okay, so this is what adds the character to this painting. Really tremendous, a lot of character. Now that's a dark color. Now that's your blue and your brown, and sometimes it's good to take that color. I want to put a little darker edge along here, underneath your snowdrifts here where the water is. It's important that that's just a tad bit darker. It adds a little bit of three-dimensional form to your snow. Okay, just like so. Now after you've done that, then we're going to come forward now. We're going to block the snow in the front of this little job. Then we'll come back and put the snow on our trees and so forth and so on. But this is a beautiful painting already. You're going to have a lot of fun with it as we progress. Take your brush and rinse it out. Now I'm going to use gesso because it's kind of liquid and creamy, and mine's drying up down there, so I'm going to pour just a tad bit more out. I'm going to rinse my brush. Rinse it out. Take a little white. Now starting at the top, now this is where you're going to have to really concentrate. Take your brush like so. And I'm using it flat, okay? Now this is where you really got to watch it. It's easy once you get the hang of it. But see, you pull it in here and you begin creating form. See, this is how you begin softening and putting in the color that makes this little hill right here have a snowy effect. I'm just going to do a little bit of it, and then we're going to put our big trees in here. So I'm kind of going in clockwise, counterclockwise. So you can create little valleys, kind of little things in the snow. You can put it on real thick in some cases, like we did back there, to create, you know, the effect that it drifted. Just be sure that if you do that, that you always blend it gracefully on the back side, or it gets too globby, okay? See like I'm doing there, but leave some dark spots. That's important. Like right here, I'm going to highlight just a little bit, but I'm going to leave some darkness in here too. Just kind of flatten this out a little. You can also come back with some grays if you want to. I'm going to gray that just a little there. Here, and we'll blend this into the water over here. Now we're going to have a couple of these dead trees right here, which I think are going to be really important. So let's block those in before we go any further. Rinse your brush out now. Alright, now the bark on a pine tree has a reddish tint to it, so I'm going to take my purple and my burnt umber, and I'm going to block one in right here like this. Well, now that's scary, I know, but that's just part of it. Just go right on down. A little more umber to it, maybe. Don't make it perfectly straight. It's got a few, you know, bulges in it here and there. Like that. Then you've got the other one over here that kind of leans into it, like so. Kind of nice. Again, not trying to get too carried away here. Now we will drift the snow and stuff up underneath these, which is really what makes it, you know, look like they're settled down. Now this paint's on fairly thick, so you be sure and get yours on thick too. Okay, now we have to let these dry for a minute before we can put any snow on them, but we can go ahead and put our little limbs that come off of them. So just take the brown, the umber, with a teeny touch of purple. And let's get a few little limbs coming off of these. Now, keeping in mind these probably are dead pine trees since they don't have any leaves on them. So let's make them fairly interesting. Like so. Okay. Now I suppose you can overdo this, but for the most part these limbs really did, there were a lot of them. You can put quite a few dead limbs on them. Adds a lot of character to it. Okay, now that's probably fairly good. You might have one or two that, like this one, come out a little bit further, maybe in front of the mountain, so that it kind of helps recede that a little bit. Although, unlike the spring and summer ones, our mountain disappeared, we want it to be kind of focused here in this particular painting. All right, now let's let that dry. And while that's drying, let's go back over here to our pine trees and let's put the snow on them. This is not difficult, but it's something that you can do and have a lot of fun with. It may take a little practice to kind of get the shape of it, but you come down here to your gesso. Now you wipe your brush out, by the way, real good. You notice I cleaned it and wiped it, get it kind of dry. And you take pure gesso, work it into your brush, but now over here on the tree, although our sunlight's coming in from the right-hand side, this serves as two purposes. It serves as sunlight and as snow. But let's take the snow and put it on just like this. So I'm going to dab in it. See, just on, and it kind of helps droop the tree. See, when these trees have snow on them, they kind of droop, get real heavy, and the limbs bend way down. It's beautiful. I'm sure many of you have seen this, but boy, I live in it and I still love it. I never tire of seeing the snow mixed in with the nature. See how beautiful that shapes those trees and makes them come alive? All of a sudden they look different now. Kind of droops. Okay. Come on over here and do this one. So I'm just kind of dabbing. I'm keeping the snow on fairly thick so that it creates a nice opaque look. Like so. So we just kind of dab it on. Now don't put too much on the left-hand side, because if you do that, then it becomes, it loses its three-dimensional form. Keep most of it on the right, and occasionally a little dab on the left. Okay. Now I'm just dry brushing the backside slightly just to create sort of an effect. Tones them down, gives them a little bit of a, just a little bit more of a finished effect, and it looks good when you snow it. So I just kind of dry brush over the dark side. And you can do the same thing to the ones over here. You can go ahead and just put just a little touch of now don't put it on as strong over here. You just want just now. Notice also I'm pushing in on my canvas so that it won't bounce. Just a little snow here. Okay, see how we're just gently touching that. Okay, and just kind of gently suggest where these are. Now, all of your trees at this point are highlighted with snow. Now you take the same, do this on this tree right here. You put a little on the edge of it, drag it down, and just kind of blend it out into the snow. Makes it look like it's been drifted. Here, right up the edge, very gently, just touch the edge of it. Okay, like so. You can do the same thing in the water, put just a little bit of a highlight of the snow right on the side of it. That makes the water look much wetter. Now, these aren't quite dry enough yet, and if they're not good and dry and you try to put the snow on there, that purple and brown blend out to your snow and you have a real mess. There's nothing that can't be fixed, just frustrating. So let's give those just another second to dry, and while that's dry, we'll move on over here to this part of the painting, and I think you'll enjoy this. We're going to put a little snow, kind of like it's, you know, where the ice is frozen and the water's frozen and the snow's landed on top of it. What you do here is you take your brush with some gesso on it, and you come right out in the water like this, building little piles of snow with little, they kind of look like they're floating, just like this. And I'll show you how to put some shadows under them, like so. Just kind of drag out some little smudgy things, like right out here, there'll be one. Against the shoreline there, there's something. You can kind of just dry brush kind of here and there to kind of add some accent to the water. You don't really always have to have snow, but just accent it, kind of. So this kind of adds a little bit of touch, like the water's moving, or maybe it's melted and it's starting to refreeze, or whatever your mind wants to tell you. That's okay. And sometimes, if you want to, you can put these little humps. Now, I enjoy putting these little humps of snow like this, and then in the water reflect it. That really adds a nice touch. Like that, underneath it. So that adds a nice reflective, oh, that's just really neat. If you do it quick with one stroke, it really looks wet. Cold too. So you can go ahead and kind of round this up, put a little suggestion of that, this. Now see how that adds a nice touch? Now what you need to do to finish it though, is you come back with a shadow underneath. It's a little bit of a bluish purple color, or on the back side. You kind of take your finger and soften it, and that gives it the three-dimensional effect that it really needs. Just a little shadow underneath it. Doesn't need to be much. Just a touch. Like so. See how nice that is? That's just so beautiful. That adds such a beautiful touch to that. Now let's see if this is dry enough here to... Okay, I think it is. Rinse your brush good. Now the key to this is really and truly just being careful, okay? Pour just a tad more bit of gesso out here. And what we're going to do is drift this snow up against the edge of the tree, like so. Start up here on the tree and then come right down into the snow, and be sure that you soften and blend. Don't just leave it. Same thing on the tree. Don't just leave a line. So you go up the edge, kind of dry brushing, skipping around, leaving some of the dark coming through. That makes it look like it's textured. Same thing on this one. Okay. Right up the edge. Anywhere you can, just put a little snow drifted out on your little broken spots, like so. Try to turn your brush sideways and you kind of dry brush here. Now, to create the right effect, you come back with your bluish purple on the back side. Now, this is the shadow. All of this has to have a shadow. See what that does? The shadow ties it in, creates a beautiful effect, and it makes it look like the snow is drifted. But you have to have a shadow. Everything in a snow scene, or just about any painting, has to have a shadow. But so you just put this little bluish purple shadow on the back side. Don't go all the way up, just a little ways. A little more here. Okay, now after you've kind of shadowed it, so, now see how nice that makes those trees? Looks like they just really are covered with snow. Rinse your brush. Now we can go back with the process of creating the drifts, which is really the main thing I want to get across to you here. See how I just leave some nice little drifted spots there that look like the snow is piled up? Kind of like the sun's really hitting that now. Okay, so just dry brush. This is really not difficult. It is not hard at all to paint a snow scene. What makes it so difficult is we think that it has to look just like snow, and you can't make it look just like snow. You have to suggest it. So this is kind of an impressionistic approach, but that's what painting is all about, to create the illusion that there's detail and so forth and so on when maybe there really isn't. Now as I go across here with this, see, I'm going to create little pockets of dark and light. Okay, and we're going to go right on through here, scrubbing, blending, and letting some of that background come through. And the reason for that is so that, see, acrylics are transparent. So they lend themselves well to this kind of painting because they all allow some of the background to come through. You just scrub like so. Now we're scrubbing, coming right down into the water here. Letting everything blend very gradually and very gracefully so that there's no hard edges anywhere. So we're blending, just kind of blend like so, right on across. Okay, now as you begin to come across, we want this corner to stay a little bit darker, so add a little bit more water to the paint. So that, see, it's more transparent, okay? Right on across. Instead of making dark, just let the water, by lack of paint and more water, create a wash. Like so. This is called glazing. Whenever you want to glaze something, that means you're going to put on a wash of color to create some type of effect. It could be fog, it could be haze, it could be you're just trying to tone something down. Now, one of the things I like to do for a painting it's in the snow is I like to come down here and take a little purple, a touch of green, maybe a little red, maybe a little blue, and I'm going to build out of this some brush. You know, there's always some things that come up, and that's what makes the painting really look finished. I turn my brush sideways, and I want to come up like this, especially around the bottom of these trees. And any place where you see a dark spot where you didn't put any grass, any snow, this is where I want you to come in and pull up some grass. I'm going to add a little green to that so it's not so purple. It'll gray it some. You know, like right here's a good spot where I think we need some grass. That's going to be too green. I'm going to add a little brown to it. There we go. These are some of the things that really make the water come alive. And the snow come alive is by getting some of the grasses in here in the brush. Like I'm going to take some right here in this corner, so you can fuzz it up. And anywhere you feel comfortable with, as long as it doesn't deter and take your eye away, then you're in good shape. Like right here, for instance. Okay. This is the stuff that really adds the contrast to the painting. Then you can take your script brush and start adding some of the small individual weeds that come up like this. And in this case, you want to make some pretty tall ones, some that are kind of bent. This contrast against the snow really adds some beautiful, beautiful contrast. Up, across, bend them over, give them some interest, like up here. Let it overlap this water so that it creates a nice, interesting contrast of form, not just color. There's contrast in form. Okay. Now, as usual, we're beginning to run out of time here, but what I want you to do, the basics here are there. To understand how snow works, how to blend it, how to make it come up against something, how to create a shadow with it, how to put it on your mountain, how to make water look wet. And one of the last things that I want to show you is how you can come back in with your toothbrush, if you want to, and put the snow actually falling, which sometimes adds a wonderful touch to the painting. What you're going to do is you're going to go through and add the weeds and things wherever you want them to go, and then you're going to come back with your number 6 bristle brush, and you are going to drift it like so. To kind of help finish it out. After you've done that, it's real simple. All you have to do is take your toothbrush, stick it in the water, a little white, get a soupy mixture that you can take your finger and splatter it like so. So we're doing this, just splatter it. Now, especially in the background there, if you want something to look faded out, you can put it on a little thicker. Then you can come back in different selected areas that you haven't been able to finish and take some different brushes, and you can go ahead and detail where the snow is on the edges, anywhere else. And when the whole thing's dry, you can sit back and take a good look at it and see where you need highlights and shadows and so forth and so on. See how we're doing this? Okay. Well, that's about all we're going to do with the snow right now. I want to thank you for joining us today on the Inspiration of Painting. This will conclude the 4 seasons. Hope you've had a good time. God bless you. Have a good day and stay inspired.